Should the state of Illinois legalize hallucinogenic plants for therapeutic purposes? Some are suggesting that should happen. Your thoughts, 217-629-7970 at 7:37 with Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop. Chicago Tribune reporting that mescaline, magic mushrooms, and mother ayahuasca, touting mental health benefits, advocates aim to decriminalize psychedelics in Illinois. And they highlight a veteran who suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder and other issues with anger, for instance, and how they had ingested an ayahuasca tea. Ayahuasca is like a root that it's harvested and they boil it in a tea or something. There's some kind of process to actually get the hallucinogenic properties out of the roots, but ultimately you put it into a tea and you drink it, and apparently you go into Alice in Wonderland type of thing, or Fantasia, and you see all kinds of colors and whatnot. But there's also a certain psychological impact on having these hallucinogenic properties, according to those who have used hallucinogens for therapeutic reasons. So what do you think? Is this something that should be explored here in Illinois? 217-629-7970. Again, 217-629-7970. That's how you can chime in live and local with Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop, and I want to hear from you. Is this an avenue that you think Illinois should be going down when it comes to the ability for people to use certain things that they may feel is therapeutic? And I've seen this discussed for quite some time in different circles, including, the libertarians out there. They very much want to see more hands-off of government regulation and criminalization of these types of things when it comes to an individual's choice. That sometimes is pushed off as, that's just a crazy libertarian perspective. But the Chicago Tribune says that State Representative LaShawn Ford is drafting a bill that would decriminalize plant-based psychedelics and create a framework through which counselors and religious healers and others could actually help facilitate the use of the drug for psychological purposes and for therapeutic purposes. So we'll have to try to get Representative Ford to join us. Maybe he can come into studio and join us to talk about this. I think that'd be a great conversation, but definitely want to hear your thoughts at 217-629-7970. Good morning. You're on WMAY. Should the state of Illinois look at possibly legalizing hallucinogenic plants for therapeutic purposes? Good morning.
Morning, Bishop.
Hey.
Absolutely. It's already legal in Washington, D.C. You can literally go buy a bag of mushrooms at a store, any store, bag of psychedelic mushrooms.
In Washington, D.C. or Washington State? Because I think
Washington, D.C.
Okay.
My buddy literally just went there for his son. And yeah, you can buy them over the counter there. He had them delivered.
Even for just recreational purposes?
Yes.
Wow.
He had them delivered.
Oh my gosh.
But check this out.
Did he eat them? Did he take them?
Yeah, absolutely. So I watch a lot of documentaries, and for people that suffer with major migraines, mushrooms are absolutely the only way to go. I watched this guy.
We're not going to give any kind of medical advice.
No, I'm not giving medical advice.
I understand.
I'm just saying,
I just want to make sure people are clear on that.
I watched a guy who suffered from migraines. I think it was like over 30-some years, and when he got he basically said on camera the only reason he's alive is because he has kids. If he didn't have kids, he would already killed himself. That's how bad his migraines are. And he takes one mushroom cap a day, and they showed him like he for the program, he didn't take one for 3 days because it kind of takes a while to get out of your system, and it showed him in this immense pain, and just he could barely see when he was walking because the migraine was that powerful.
Interesting.
And he popped a mushroom cap. I think it was 25 minutes to an hour later, you would never even known it was the same guy.
And I don't know if that would be considered what some say is called micro dosing.
Yes,
But
yes,
you know,
yes.
it's different
He
than say
wasn't doing
it's
it.
different than say taking an entire baggie of mushrooms
He-
at a fish
yeah,
concert, right?
He's not doing it for the psychedelic reasons. He don't want to see tracers and all that shit. Crap. Sorry.
All right, it's all right.
We got,
Yeah, so ultimately, yeah, and I appreciate the call there, saying, you know, there are some therapeutic purposes for this, and something that ultimately could help individuals get to a certain point to get over an ailment or to alleviate an ailment. And this is something I think is still, there's not enough research on this, just as there's not been enough research on cannabis and its medical purposes and medical qualities that are possible there. But I've also seen other anecdotes of individuals who may have problems with severe alcoholism. And, you know, they're trying to self-medicate with alcohol, but they may come across like a shaman or something, or told by a buddy who they were in the service with that, you know, hey, there's some stuff going down in Mexico where you can drink ayahuasca and it'll take care of your bouts with alcoholism. Because apparently when you go into a hallucinogenic state, the level of what ayahuasca may offer or mescaline may offer, for example, it just provides a totally different life perspective. In a way, some may equate it to a religious experience. Others may just equate it to your mind working out a bunch of problems on its own, and this assists with it. But either way, I think that there seems to be a growing number of people looking at hallucinogenic plants as offering up some kind of therapeutic properties. Is that something Illinois should pursue? 217-629-7970 is the phone number. Hearing from you now. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Yeah, I'm not trying to make fun of the previous caller, but I don't think there's anything on a list of medical conditions that someone would not feel like they're a little bit better at those few seconds, minutes, or hours of time, if you know what I'm saying. I'm sure they'd get a little bit different perspective, and the pain may just go away. But like you said, therapeutically, I don't know. I wouldn't be pointing any fingers at indications, but hey, I appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate the call. And listen, I mean, that's the point of having thorough study and analysis of these things, right? I mean, it's one thing to just make a claim, but it's another thing to actually delve in and to evaluate the overall impacts of something in, you know, a broad study. Where you've got all kinds of different variables at play, and you have a better understanding of how these variables interact with each other. And I think also you've got to obviously recognize each individual is different, and each individual's biology is different. But interesting to see this as something that State Representative LaShawn Ford out of Chicago is looking to possibly decriminalize plant-based psychedelics. And have a framework set up to where it's associated with working with a counselor or a religious leader or others who can provide some assistance in making it a therapeutic situation rather than just a recreational situation. Like, you know, finding some guy wearing some, you know, I don't even, what do hippies wear anymore? I'm not sure. But at a fish show or something, right? It's not going to be like that. It's going to be more of a therapeutic approach. At least that's what we're reading in the Chicago Tribune here. Good morning. You're on WMAY. Your thoughts of legalizing plant-based hallucinogens for therapeutic reasons. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, there's a lot of studies out there of how microdosing on mushrooms and peyote help veterans with severe PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
And it's out there, and it gives those guys some help, a lot of help. It puts them in a state where they can actually get off their chest whatever's causing their stress, and they swear by it.
Well, and it's not just, yeah, I appreciate the call. And it's not just where they can get it off their chest. It apparently allows them to get into a certain state where even internally they're able to rework and re-understand the experiences they've had in life and what those experiences mean and how they should react to those experiences. And even some people in anecdotes I've seen as well. And, you know, if you listen to Joe Rogan's podcast, for instance, Yeah, you will hear this conversation from time to time. The therapeutic qualities of hallucinogens, be it ayahuasca, be it ibogaine, be it mescaline. And in no way is this a way to endorse drug usage. That's not what we're talking about here. Especially when you're flooded with TV advertisements for all of the latest major pharmaceuticals that are out there. That if you read the list of impacts to you or the side effects, you could definitely scare your kids at night. But the anecdotes that I've heard also about therapeutic use of hallucinogenic plants is that it almost brings you to a certain sense of facing into the abyss and allowing for you to have a deeper and more appreciative understanding of what life is and the life that we have and that we share here on this planet. So there's a lot of anecdotes out there, but I think there needs to be more study. Could something like this in Illinois, where State Representative LaShawn Ford's looking at, help with that? Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Hi, this is Karen. I think they should not be made legal. We don't know the long-term effects. As you said, there needs to be more study. And then what is the pseudo law enforcement? Because then there have to be regulations and everything. It's just not necessary, in my opinion.
Got you down. Appreciate it. It is WMAY. And coming back, we will talk about cannabis and in particular, some of the latest cannabis numbers when sales are concerned and revenue is concerned, but also some concerns about trust within the legal regulated market. So stay tuned. We'll get to that coming up here on WMAY and get more of your calls about whether or not we should legalize plant-based hallucinogens for therapeutic purposes in Illinois. Taking your calls about whether or not Illinois should legalize plant-based hallucinogens if it's associated with some form of therapy. 217-629-7970. Now 7:56 on Springfield's Morning News, 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. Again, chime in, 217-629-7970, or you can email bishoponair@gmail.com. Find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Just search out Bishop on Air. It's not the only drug story I have for you this morning. There's another one here that delves into some of the questions of trust surrounding cannabis and legal cannabis in Illinois. And caller, I'll get to you here in a second, but I definitely wanted to share some of the backs and forths that have been happening when it comes to the cannabis industry. We talked with Pam Altoff yesterday here on WMAY about the ongoing issues in the courts concerning getting enough cannabis dispensaries. And in particular, Altoff said that the litigation is keeping more people from getting into being able to sell legal cannabis.
From a consumer protection perspective?
And in particular, you've got the issue of those licenses and the scoring processes being challenged in the courts.
The next tranche of dispensary licenses that were supposed to be awarded a year ago still are, in the legal system, and they have a temporary restraining order placed upon them. So there are no new dispensaries.
And without more dispensaries, you don't get as much choice in the legal market, and the situation is frustrating to consumers and businesses alike, Altoff shared.
It's extraordinarily frustrating, and it creates a great deal of anger and I think just distrust with the entire process.
Meanwhile, last week during a Senate committee, State Senator Jason Plummer questioned Cannabis Regulation Oversight Officer Danielle Perry about recent stories of mold being found in some pre-rolled joints. And he said that no one warned the public of the problem, though there was an internal email within the state to quarantine the product. And Perry said that was done as a precaution, though the state didn't find any issues with that product. And here is Perry talking last week in a Senate committee.
From a consumer protection perspective, the responsibility, I believe, of the agency is to inform the company, and the company is to inform the consumer.
But Plummer said the state should probably take a larger role in these types of communications.
If a state lab finds an issue with the product, I think the state lab, once that confirmation is made, should probably be disseminating that information to the public if there's a health or safety issue there.
So let's get back to your calls, though, on a different drug that's being proposed, a plant-based hallucinogen, a variety of them out there, psilocybin mushrooms, mescaline, and so on. What are your thoughts about that idea of making that legal if it's connected to therapy here in Illinois? Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Greg. I think that we need to kind of get ahead, just like with the Anslinger files and the Gore files that demonized hemp and marijuana, and we had a prohibition against that for decades upon decades. It's time for us to look at the true science behind the therapeutic value of some of these hallucinogens, whether it's microdosing off LSD or certain low qualities of mushrooms. A lot of people that deal with depression, anxiety, they can break through that barrier and figure out the root cause. They can fix that chemical imbalance in their brain. For people that are just looking to do something intellectually stimulating, it challenges them. I've heard.
But at the same time, I think you have to recognize others may suffer from mental illness that hallucinogens are not going to help. All right, that's all the time we got on this topic. We'll revisit it in the future. It's 8 o'clock now. Strange pronunciations next.
From the Fly SPI studio, take the easy